people that really didn't have any standing with the children of Israel. But you guys have heard of my ancestor, Jethro. He was Moses' father-in-law, that same Moses that was talked about earlier. And because of Jethro, we were living with the Israelites. And when they went on conquering Jericho and everybody else, we were in the midst. We became part of them even though we were Midianites. But because we lived with them, we received the blessings that God had for them. But unfortunately, when they disobeyed their God, we reaped the punishment as well. You see, I came along during a time when Israel decided, we're not going to obey God anymore. We're going to do what we want to do. And we were captured by the Canaanites. And we were enslaved to them. And some of us decided, we're going to fight this. This is not good. This is not what we want to do. And we knew we couldn't do it by ourselves. So we finally cried out. And I should say Israel when I say we. I'm talking about them because now I count myself a part of them. We cried out to God and we said, I'm sorry. We're sorry we disobeyed you. We're sorry we didn't do what you wanted us to do. Please deliver us from the hand of these people. And so God said, all right, you repented. And because I love you, one more time, I'm going to deliver you from your captors. And so he spoke to Barak. And he told Barak, go take the Canaanites. I will deliver them into your hands and free your people. Now Barak was supposed to be our leader. And Barak decided, I'm not thinking that this is really God telling me to go up against these Canaanites because they got 900 iron chariots. And who am I to go up against 900 iron chariots? And so he decided he'd go check with Deborah. Now Deborah was the judge at this time. And he went to Deborah and he said, Deborah, God said, go take the Canaanites. He delivered these 900 chariots into my hand. And Deborah's responsible, go take them. God said, go take them. He told you he'd be with you. Go take them. Well, I guess Barak thought his relationship with God wasn't as close as Deborah's. So he still, was a little hesitant about going. He still didn't want to go. And he told Deborah, if you go with me, I'll go. Now, Deborah's a judge. She's not a soldier. She's not a warrior. And she's a woman. The women didn't usually go into battle like this. But he says, if you go, I'll go with you. Now, Deborah said, look, God told you he'd be with you. He told you to take the Canaanites. But if you insist that I go, I'll go. But you won't receive the glory for their defeat. He's going to give it to a woman. Well, naturally, Barak thought Deborah was the woman. But Deborah wasn't the woman. Now, let me give you a little history. When we went up with Israel to possess the land and we were in this land, some of us, those descendants of Jethro, decided we were going to stay with the Israelites. We were going to live with them. We were going to do everything God had commanded them to do and reap the benefits of this land of milk and honey. But you see, my husband was a Kenite. Decided he knew better than everybody else, and he was not going with the Israelites. He was not going to hang with them, per se. He was living in the country. He was abiding with everything else, but he made friends with the king that captured us. He was the king's friend, so that meant he got the king's favor, and he figured he'd side with the king. So when Barak went up against the Canaanites, my husband fought with Sisera, the Canaanite king, or his general. And so I was a little torn with that. I'm a homemaker at home, a woman, have no station, have no voice. But that's what my husband wanted to do, so I stayed in the tent. It was what it was, right? But then, Barak defeated the Canaanites. Sisera got away. And because Sisera knew my husband and the king were friends, he ran to our tent for safety. He didn't know I didn't feel like my husband. He didn't know I didn't agree with my husband. And my husband wasn't at home. He was out with Sisera's people, with the king. And so when Sisera came up, thinking he was in a safe place, I treated him with great hospitality. And I invited him into my tent. First of all, he shouldn't have come into my tent. That was against the custom, to come into a married woman's tent and her husband's not home. But he was scared for his life, running from a rock. So he came into my tent. And he wanted water. But I gave him buttermilk. I gave him better than water. And he got all comfortable. And when he felt like he was so safe and I would hide him so well, he went to sleep. He went into a deep, sound sleep. And that's when I took a wooden peg and a mallet and drove it through his temples into the ground. Yeah. I didn't just hit him a little bit. I drove it through till it came out on the other side. I was determined he was not getting up and fighting against us anymore. And I didn't care what my husband said, it was done. I was standing with Israel because Israel had been a blessing to us. And they won and they beat the king and I was hanging with Israel. So when Barak came up chasing Sisera, I went out and said, come see what I've done, come see what I've done. And he came and he saw Sisera dead. I got the glory. Little old homemaker off in a tent, minding her own business, in the shadows of an unwise husband, received the glory for taking down the soldier, the commander of King Jacob's army. My name is Jael. I was unknown to most. I was just a homemaker. Didn't hold any station other than being the wife of this man who was looked upon by the king, the enemy of Israel. But God used me, even